Close your eyes and drift into the Elder Scrolls, ancient tomes that whisper across time and possibility, written not with ink, but with destiny. These are not books in the conventional sense, nor are they mere artifacts of history or magic. They are timeless, unknowable objects, existing outside the bounds of causality and perception, observed only faintly through the lens of mortal comprehension. In their presence, time folds, meaning fractures, and reality shimmers like heat over distant sand. The Elder Scrolls are thought to originate not in any particular era or from any known civilization, but rather from a place beyond both space and linear time. They are not written in retrospect, nor composed with intent. They exist as echoes, as fragments of the divine dream that cradles the entire known universe, a dream sometimes referred to as the aurbis. Within this vast and unknowable conceptual realm, where gods are born and myths take shape, the Elder Scrolls exist as fixed points, not of time, but of narrative possibility. They do not record events as a historian might, nor predict outcomes as a prophet might hope to. They are simply there. Some say the scrolls formed during the first moments of creation, at the instant when Anu and Padome, the primordial forces of order and chaos, began their eternal dance. Others suggest the scrolls were never formed at all, but have always been, simply waiting for a reader to lend them momentary form. It is also said, in more esoteric circles, that the Elder Scrolls are thoughts of the Godhead, the unknowable dreamer whose slumber gives rise to all of reality. In that view, the scrolls are not items or even concepts, but dream texts drawn from the unconscious mind of the divine. Nevertheless, in Tamriel, the scrolls do exist in tangible form, bound in parchment and housed in great stone vaults. The imperial library and the secluded sanctums of the cult of the ancestor moth are among the few places where they are kept. These vaults are heavily guarded, not merely by steel and spell, but by layers of tradition, silence, and reverence. And yet, the paradox persists. How can one hold something that defies existence? How can one read something not written in any language known to man, mer, or beast? To read an Elder Scroll is to undergo an experience beyond comprehension. It is not the eye that reads, but the soul. The information revealed is not structured nor sequential. The scroll may reveal a fragment of a long-dead emperor's thoughts, followed by the whisper of a war yet to begin. These glimpses are not offered clearly. They arrive like dreams, symbolic, overlapping, and incomplete. A single phrase may carry multiple contradictory meanings, all true, none stable. The further one reads, the deeper one falls. The moth priests are among the few trained to engage with the scrolls. Their training is long and arduous. Over time, their eyesight fades, not as a sign of failure, but as a rite of passage. Blindness becomes their second sight. It is believed that only in the absence of vision can one truly see the scroll's meaning. For what is perceived is not literal. It is metaphysical, abstract, pure. To read is to open oneself to the timeline itself, to feel the countless branches of possibility stretch and fracture and reform with each word that is not really a word. And still, the scrolls do not offer answers. They are not guides. They do not say what must happen, only what may, what did, and what never will, all at once. For some, the act of reading is madness. For others, it is enlightenment. For most, it is both. Across Tamriel's cultures, the Elder Scrolls are viewed with awe and terror. The Altmer consider them remnants of divine architecture. The Nords treat them as dangerous relics. The Dwemer rarely speak of them at all. And yet, they persist. constant, immutable, unmoved by war, dynasty, or disaster. They are untouched by time, for they do not occupy it. Rather, they observe it and perhaps shape it. Let this thought lull you gently. The scrolls have no origin, and yet they begin everything. They are not real, and yet they shape reality. They are silent, but their echoes sing forever. Let us drift now and turn to the next chapter. Let your thoughts drift now toward the gentle, quiet rhythm of fate. Imagine a place where time does not move forward, but unfolds in spirals, where every possible future rests beside every forgotten past. Within this vast silence, there are those who read the Elder Scrolls, not for knowledge, not for power, but simply because the scrolls call to them. These are the prophets of the unwritten, the seers who sacrifice themselves to glimpse threads that were never meant to be seen. In the Empire, the moth priests serve this sacred purpose. They are cloistered scholars, trained from a young age to prepare their minds and souls for communion with the scrolls. Their lives are ones of study, seclusion, and ritual. Over time, their eyesight fades, consumed by the truths they encounter. And yet, to them, this blindness is not a loss, but a transformation, a symbol of devotion, a mark of insight. When their eyes close to the world, a new sight opens inward. They see, not with vision, but with silence. To read a scroll is to walk unshod through a storm of meaning. There are no sentences, no chapters, no coherent plots. The knowledge does not arrive in words, but in waves. Impressions that collide and dissolve, revealing countless possibilities. The reader must endure this silent chaos, sorting clarity from illusion. For every vision revealed, another is buried. For every truth, a contradiction. It is not uncommon for a reader to emerge from a reading broken, trembling, mumbling fragments of prophecy that may never come to pass. One priest may foresee the death of an emperor. Another may read the same scroll and see the same emperor's eternal reign. Both readings are correct. Within the language of the scrolls, multiple truths coexist, and the act of interpretation is itself a creative force. To speak what is read is to give it shape, and perhaps to make it real. Prophecy in the Elder Scrolls universe is not prediction, it is construction. The future is not an unmoving path, but a swirling potential. When a seer reads a scroll, they are not merely observing, they are influencing. The moment a prophecy is spoken, it becomes possible, and once it is believed, it becomes probable. As more accept it, the future bends to meet it. This is the delicate, dangerous power of prophecy. Not that it shows what will happen, but that it can make something happen simply by being read and repeated. This process, though often hidden, has shaped the course of Tamriel's history. The rise of Tiber Septim, the Nerevarine prophecy, the Oblivion Crisis, all were foretold by scrolls, and in being foretold, were made manifest. It is a quiet magic, slow and irreversible, and behind it stands not a single hand, but many. Each reader, each interpretation, each utterance, folding the shape of what is to come. Yet this power carries a burden. To see the future is to carry its weight. Many seers lose themselves. Their identities erode, dissolved in a sea of visions. They forget their names, their memories, even their own time. They become vessels, not people, but conduits. What remains is not a scholar, but a whisper. Some do not speak at all, merely sit in silence, listening to futures that no longer belong to them. And still, the scrolls are read. There are those outside the priesthood who have also dared to look. Heroes, rebels, scholars. Some gain brief insight, others are consumed. For the scrolls do not discriminate. They offer no safety, no comfort, no instruction. They give only what they are, a mirror in which time gazes at itself. In Skyrim, one such vision tore open a fissure in the world. The Elder Scroll of the Dragon revealed the truth of the World Eater Alduin, and with it, the means to send him across time. In the hands of the Dragonborn, the scroll did not merely inform, it became a tool, a pivot around which destiny turned. This was no accident. It was the fulfillment of unseen layers, drawn from deep within the weft of fate, set in motion long before any mortal was born to carry it out. And so, prophecy continues, not as a story written in advance, but as a chorus of possibilities, echoing through readers who speak, who see, and who lose themselves in the echoes of things that may never be. Now, rest easy in this thought. Nothing is certain, and yet all is written. All paths are possible, and yet only one is walked. The scrolls do not decide, they only observe until someone looks. Let your mind become still and follow us now into the next chapter, where we will drift into the impossible, to the metaphysical heart of the Elder Scrolls universe, where reality is a choice, and where the secret of CHIM lingers like a forgotten dream. Let us now drift away from the known and into the imagined, into the folds of metaphysics where identity, reality, and perception merge into a singular, sleeping thought. As you breathe gently, allow your mind to wander past time, past place, and into the quiet concept of CHIM, a truth so layered, so veiled, that it exists both as a paradox and a key. CHIM, pronounced softly as though the word itself fears to be spoken, is not a power in the way that magicka or strength might be understood. It is not a spell, nor a ritual, nor a learned secret whispered in the corners of some arcane academy. It is a state of awareness, a philosophical position held so delicately within the mind that few beings have ever grasped it without being undone. CHIM is the moment in which one realizes that the self is both real and imagined, that one is part of the dream and yet aware that it is a dream, that one is both the dreamer and the dreamed. The Elder Scrolls universe, as spoken of in riddles and glyphs by sages and dreamers, is not real in the way we understand reality. It is a dream slumbered into existence by the unknowable being known as the Godhead. All that exists, the stars, the gods, the empires, the heroes, are thoughts within this sleeping mind. Most who come to this realization fade. They accept the illusion and collapse into nothing, into what is known as the zero sum, the subtraction of self, the acceptance that one does not exist and therefore must cease. But CHIM is something different. CHIM is the defiance of that erasure. It is to see the dream, to understand it, and to declare, I am and I am not. I know I am part of the dream, but I remain myself regardless. This awareness does not lead to non-existence, but to liberation. For those who attain CHIM are no longer bound by the rules of the dream. They may shape it, bend it, rewrite it, yet they do not become gods, at least not in the conventional sense. Rather, they become lucid, awake within the dream, but still dreaming. This concept, so fragile, so exacting, is not taught. It is realized. It may arrive in a moment of silence or over the course of centuries of thought. And even when glimpsed, it may still escape, slipping through the fingers of the mind like water. To hold CHIM is to walk a razor's edge, to risk annihilation for the chance to see clearly. Few have claimed to grasp it. Tiber Septim, the first emperor of the unified Tamrielic Empire, is believed by some to have attained CHIM. His rise from mortal general to godlike being to the divine Talos was not merely an ascent of conquest, but of awareness. It is said he walked the tower of zero sum, looked into the void, and returned intact. A man who had seen that the world was fiction and had chosen, quietly, to keep dreaming. The language of CHIM is filled with contradiction. It is a thought that cannot be thought, a truth that erases itself when spoken aloud. And yet, it exists. As an ideal, as a condition, as a whispered name beneath the surface of all things. In the metaphysical scrolls and sermons of the Altmeri and Dwemer mystics, the word appears not as definition, but as mystery. It is wrapped in symbols, stories, and songs. It is a riddle written in ink that disappears when looked upon too directly. There is also the idea of amaranth, the next dream, the true dream, the becoming of a new godhead. Those who master CHIM are said to have the potential to dream a new reality, to awaken not from the current dream, but into another, wholly their own. And yet almost no one does. The path from CHIM to amaranth is not a road, but a leap, one taken in silence, alone, without certainty of what lies beyond. Still the idea persists, whispered in the deepest places of thought, that someone somewhere may someday awaken not from the dream of the Elder Scrolls, but into their own. A new dreamer, a new universe, a new story. CHIM is not power, it is perspective. It does not make one stronger, but freer. It offers no control, only awareness. To grasp CHIM is to see that you are a word in a sentence, and that the sentence can change if you believe it can. But you must still remain the word, and not vanish from the page. And so, as you rest now, let that thought settle gently. The world may be unreal. The gods may be dreamed. You may be a fiction. And yet, you are still here, still breathing, still dreaming. Close your eyes a little further. Let go. Drift. For in the next chapter, we will wander deeper into time's fracture, to the event known as the Dragon Break, where history split like glass, and every path became real, all at once. Let your mind become still, and listen to the ticking of a clock that has no hands. Imagine a timeline unraveling, not into chaos, but into perfect, infinite order, where every outcome, every possibility, every contradiction is not discarded, but preserved. This is the essence of the Dragon Break. A moment not when time stopped, but when time expanded in all directions at once, becoming everything, and yet remaining nothing. In the cosmology of the Elder Scrolls, time is not linear in the way mortals perceive it. It is a current, vast, powerful, and shaped by divine forces. Chief among these is Akatosh, the dragon god of time, whose essence keeps the river flowing forward. His image, the eternal dragon, symbolizes continuity, authority, and unbroken sequence. And yet even the god of time can be wounded. Even time, under certain circumstances, may cease to function in ways that mortals understand. A dragon break is not a pause in time. It is not an absence. Rather, it is a convergence, a place where the timeline fractures and every shard becomes true. During a dragon break, reality no longer obeys cause and effect. Past, present, and future bleed into one another. Events contradict, yet coexist. Histories overwrite themselves. Memories conflict. And yet, all of them are real. The most well-known dragon break occurred during the Middle Dawn, a period that lasted for exactly 1008 years, and also no time at all. It centered on the reign of the first Numidium, a massive brass golem powered by divine forces and controlled by Tiber Septim's forces during his conquest of Tamriel. The activation of the Numidium was not merely a technological feat, but a metaphysical one. It broke the continuity of the world. It damaged time's structure, shattering it into countless versions of itself. During this break, every faction involved in the conquest of Tamriel claimed complete victory. Every possible outcome was realized. The Bretons conquered, the Chimera rebelled, the Empire triumphed, and yet the Empire fell. In some accounts, wars were fought and refought. In others, peace reigned from the beginning. And yet all versions became true. The universe, rather than choosing one path, embraced them all simultaneously. After the break ended, history resumed, but not in a singular form. Scholars across Tamriel debated what truly occurred. The timelines no longer matched, records contradicted, myths diverged. And yet the world continued as if nothing had happened. It had moved forward, holding all pasts as valid, while remembering none of them clearly. The phenomenon is so difficult to understand that even the most advanced historians, arcanists, and theologians struggle to agree on its nature. Some believe the dragon break is a side effect of tampering with the divine, a backlash from trying to control forces meant only for the gods. Others argue it is a deliberate feature of the aurbis, a release valve for the tension between fate and freedom. Still others claim the dragon break is a symptom of a dreamer stirring, the godhead twitching in its sleep, sending ripples through the dream. It is important to note that while dragon breaks seem rare, they may be more common than recognized. Because memory itself fractures during these events, those who live through them often forget or remember things that never occurred. Entire cultures may pass through a dragon break unaware that history has been rewritten around them. And yet, even amid this uncertainty, the world finds stability again. Akatosh reasserts his dominion. The flow of time returns. The dream coheres. But the scars remain. Faint echoes in myth, discrepancies in chronicles, inconsistencies that no scholar can fully explain. The implications of dragon breaks are vast. They suggest that reality is not fixed but mutable, that history is not a record but a choice, that time is not a line but a web, and that perhaps the past itself is still unfolding, subject to change at the whims of gods, heroes, or those who, knowingly or not, walk close to CHIM. When you reflect on this, let the thought soften your breath. Perhaps the day you remember is not the same day someone else remembers. Perhaps what you believe happened. Both did and did not. And yet, the world moves on, slowly, quietly, as if nothing changed at all. Drift now into deeper stillness. For in the next chapter, we will ascend the towers, ancient constructs not of stone but of concept, the hidden architecture that anchors the world of Mundus and the fragile reality it holds in place. Let your thoughts drift upward, toward the invisible framework that holds the world in place. Imagine vast structures not built by hands, but shaped by thought, by intent, by myth made manifest. These are the towers, not merely buildings of stone or crystal, but metaphysical pillars that stabilize the dream of Mundus, keeping it from collapsing into the void. They are not symbols, they are not metaphors, they are truths in structural form, the foundation of reality set in place to preserve it. The world of Mundus, the mortal plane, is not natural. It was constructed. It was born from conflict, from compromise, from the divine schism between stasis and change. Lorcan, the trickster god, proposed its creation, a place where mortality might arise, a place where limitation, suffering, and eventual transcendence could be made possible. The Et Ada, the original spirits, were divided. Some gave of themselves to form the world. Others refused. And still, the world came to be.
But Mundus, in its nature, is unstable. It is finite in a universe of infinity. It is mortal in a cosmos of gods. It should not persist. And so, the towers were raised, structures of mythic resonance, each imbued with a stone, a powerful focus of stabilization. These towers are not defenses. They are not beacons. They are anchors. They ensure the continuity of existence. They define the laws by which the dream holds form. There are many such towers, though not all are known, and fewer still remain active. The Adamantine Tower, also called Direni Tower, is the oldest. It was the first, and it stands on the Isle of Balfira in the Iliac Bay. It is the site where the gods gathered, where Lorcan was judged, and where the world's shape was fixed. It is the axis upon which all other towers align. It is the center. Red Tower, or Red Mountain, lies in Morrowind. Though not constructed in the traditional sense, it is a tower by myth. It was powered by the heart of Lorcan, a divine artifact, still beating long after its owner's death. When the tribunal used the heart to ascend to godhood, and when Dagoth Ur used it to construct his own god machine, the metaphysical weight of the heart solidified Red Mountain's status as a tower. Its destruction in the Red Year marked a deep wound in the fabric of Mundus. The White Gold Tower, located in the Imperial City, was built by the Aelids and later became the center of the empire. Its stone, the Amulet of Kings, linked the rulers of Cyrodiil to Akatosh, ensuring the divine legitimacy of their rule and the stability of the Dragonfires, a ward against oblivion. When the amulet was destroyed, the tower was destabilized, and yet it still stands. Other towers exist, or existed. Crystal Likelore, in Alinor, the domain of the Altmer, a tower of pure magical order. Green sap, associated with Valenwood, formed not of stone but of trees, walking and changing as the Bosmer's identity shifted. Snowthroat, the throat of the world, lies in Skyrim, a natural tower tied to the voice of the earth. Orichalk, lost beneath the sea, once stood in Yokuda, home of the Red Guards. Walkbrass, also known as Numidium, was itself a tower. A self-aware, godlike machine designed to force freedom into the structure of the world. Each tower has a stone. Without its stone, the tower falls dormant. With its stone, the tower maintains influence. Some believe that the deactivation of towers will lead to the unraveling of Mundus, a slow descent into chaos, as the laws that govern existence begin to fray. Others argue the opposite, that the towers are prisons, keeping mortals bound within the illusion of the dream, and that their fall would bring liberation. The Thalmor, the ruling power of the Aldmeri Dominion, believe in the latter. They seek the unmaking, the return to Aetherius, the realm of pure spirit, by dismantling the illusion of mortality. To do this, they aim to deactivate the towers one by one. Their goal is not domination, but metaphysical erasure, a quiet ending, a restoration of what they believe was lost. And yet, the towers endure, damaged, abandoned, forgotten, but not erased. For each still hums with potential, each still exists as a pillar in the dream. Their purpose is unclear, their design mysterious, but their presence is essential. As long as even one tower stands, Mundus may persist. As long as one stone remains connected, the world remains awake. So now, let your breath slow and rest in the quiet thought that the world itself is held up not by earth or sky, but by belief. The towers are ideas rooted in story, made real by the dreamer and the dreamed. And as long as the dream is dreamed, the towers will remain. We now descend from the heights of myth into the deep silence of absence. For in the next chapter, we will seek the lost, the Dwemer, the vanished people of brass and reason who defied the gods and left nothing behind, or perhaps left everything. Sink slowly now into the silence of ancient ruins. Hear no wind, no voice, no breath. Only the stillness of machines long powered down, the echoes of footsteps that will never return. This is the realm of the Dwemer, a race that once spanned continents, mastered logic, metal, and myth, and then vanished. The Dwemer, often called deep elves or dwarves by outsiders, were not diminutive, nor were they simple miners as their name might suggest. They were an advanced, skeptical, reclusive people. Unlike their Merrick cousins who revered gods and myth, the Dwemer pursued knowledge, precision, and liberation from divine influence. They constructed cities deep beneath the earth, vast chambers of steam and brass filled with glowing lights, humming machines, and unblinking sentinels. They rejected the Aedra and the Daedra alike, viewing divine beings not as sacred, but as dangerous delusions. Their architecture was immense and intricate. Steam-powered lifts, rotating halls, and self-repairing constructs filled their strongholds. And yet, beneath this mechanical brilliance pulsed something deeper, an obsession with understanding the very foundation of reality. The Dwemer did not merely study the world, they sought to rewrite it. To them, the gods were unnecessary, the soul a formula, existence an equation to be solved. Their greatest mystery lies in their disappearance, an event sudden, total, and unmatched in all the annals of history. It occurred during the Battle of Red Mountain in the First Era, year 687. The Dwemer had aligned themselves with House Dagoth and others in the conflict over the heart of Lorcan, a divine organ believed to still pulse with primal creative force. It was from this heart that the tribunal, Vivek, Almalexia, and Sothasil would later draw godhood. But the Dwemer had other plans. Under the leadership of Kagranak, their chief tonal architect, the Dwemer sought to harness the heart's power through a device known as the Numidium, a massive brass golem designed not for war, but for transcendence. With the heart as its fuel, the Numidium could reshape reality, erase mortality, undo divine dependence, and establish a new existence, one governed not by myth, but by law, reason, and design. Kagranak's tools, Sunda, Keening, and Wraithguard, were designed to tap the heart's power safely. And at the peak of their experiment, when the tools were used and the heart was activated, the entire Dwemer race vanished. Instantly, all at once, without warning. Across Tamriel, in every city, in every ruin, in every tunnel, the Dwemer simply ceased to be. Their bodies left no trace. Their souls left no residue. Their cities remained intact. Their machines continued to operate. But they themselves were gone. Utterly. No one knows where they went. No one knows whether they died, ascended, or simply stepped sideways into another layer of reality. Theories abound. Some say they merged into the Numidium itself, becoming one with the machine, abandoning form. Others suggest they were unmade by their own hubris, torn from the dream by the Godhead, punished for attempting to rewrite the narrative. And still others believe they succeeded, that the Dwemer achieved something beyond comprehension, and in doing so became something no longer recognizable. Their disappearance was not accompanied by fire or noise. It left no crater, no blast, no warning. It was as quiet as sleep, as sudden as forgetting. But the world remembers. The Dwemer left behind their cities, silent testaments to their brilliance. Mzulft, Bethadams, Nichadak, and many others. Their machines still wander their halls. Their traps still trigger. Their texts remain, filled with diagrams, logic, and questions, but no answers. The last known Dwemer, Yagrum Bagarn, survived only because he was in another realm, the outer dimensions of oblivion, during the disappearance. He returned to find his people gone, and he, alone, diseased, decaying, and broken. He could not explain their fate. He had not seen the event. He had only memory and grief and the quiet ticking of machines no longer tended. And so the mystery remains. Did they defy death or embrace it? Did they solve the equation of reality, or were they simply erased? Were they punished for reaching too far, or rewarded by being set free? Let that question rest gently in your mind, like a thought left unfinished. The Dwemer are gone, and yet they are everywhere, in the quiet of the ruins, in the turning of gears, in the hush that follows curiosity. They are not forgotten, because forgetting them is impossible. Their absence is too loud. Sleep now, knowing some questions are meant never to be answered. For in the next and final chapter, we will return to the scrolls themselves, to the stillness at the heart of prophecy, where silence becomes destiny, and all that was read folds gently back into dream. Return now to the stillness. Return to the quiet pages that never turn, and yet always turn. To the parchment that bears no ink, and yet carries all stories. Return to the Elder Scrolls, where it all began and where it all concludes. They remain where they always have, in vaults lit by candlelight, in sanctums beneath marble towers, in the silent halls of the moth priests, and in forgotten shrines beneath the mountains. They are not moved because they do not need to be moved. They do not change because they have already changed, and will continue to change every time someone chooses to look. The Elder Scrolls are not simply records of prophecy. They are the pause between breaths. They are the shape of time before it is formed. They do not speak, but they are always heard. Each scroll is a mirror that does not reflect the reader, but reshapes the reader into the reflection it requires. And once read, one is never truly the same. Prophets, mystics, emperors, and heroes have all looked upon the scrolls, and each has walked away altered. Some received visions, others received madness. Some built empires, others unraveled them. All were touched by possibility. All became part of the dream. But the scrolls themselves remain, unchanged, unmoved. They are not of Etherius, nor Oblivion, nor Mundus. They are older than these divisions. They are what was known before knowing. They are not creations, but remnants, fossils of thought, left behind by something greater than gods. To read a scroll is not to witness a future, but to become part of one. Not to uncover destiny, but to co-author it. And yet, in doing so, one moves further from oneself. For every truth gained from a scroll, a part of identity must be given in return. The price is not measured in gold or blood. The price is being the gradual erosion of the reader into the reading, until eventually only the scroll remains, and the one who read it becomes merely an echo within its pages. The scrolls do not offer comfort. They do not promise meaning. They simply are. They will persist long after every tower has fallen, after CHIM is forgotten, after the last machine of the Dwemer has rusted into silence. Even after the dream ends, the scrolls may remain, like the last whisper of a song fading into the night. Some say the scrolls will one day be closed forever, that the final page will turn, that the last reader will look, and nothing will remain to be seen. Others say the scrolls will continue, even when there is no one left to read them, writing themselves into eternity, unfolding destinies for no one at all. And perhaps that is their true nature. Not tools, not weapons, not prophecies, but stories, waiting to be forgotten. In the end, all who dream must one day awaken. All who read must one day close the book. But the dream itself lingers, soft, formless, eternal. So close your eyes now, if you have not already. Let the silence stretch out before you like a road that does not end. Let the Elder Scrolls remain unread, untouched, and undisturbed, sleeping where they always have, whispering only to those who listen in stillness. You have traveled through prophecy, paradox, disappearance, and design. You have walked among gods, ghosts, and dreamers. You have seen time break, reality bend, and silence speak. And now, it is time to sleep. Let the scrolls fade from your mind. Let the world fade from your body. Let yourself drift into a sleep where nothing must be known and everything is allowed to simply be. Good night, and may your dream be your own.